One more game to go tonight for OCN Playday 2 Rhythm Wildcard coming up very shortly. Welcome back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we are presented by Samsung here for Oceanic Nationals, one of our many amazing partners. It's been a great night so far tonight, guys. We've had plenty of close matches. 7-5 Order LFO, with Order taking out that one. 7-5 Knights versus Bliss. Bliss coming up winners and causing a bit of an upset there. And then 8-7, a banger 15 match burnout between Chiefs and Roffle Copter, as Roffle came away with the win. So Chiefs and Knights both in the losers list tonight.
Yeah, it's been quite a long night, and we've only had one OT, so we could well see a second one in this next matchup, I have no doubt. Wildcard and Rhythm should be a lot of fun as well.
Certainly should be. Rhythm, Wildcard. It's hard to make any judgments about this game. Wildcard still questions everywhere. Guys, I got no idea. Rhythm as well, to a degree. Hard to sort of judge them off the back of their 7-2 loss yesterday to Knights. Kind of suggests that, you know, they're a team that's probably not going to feature in the top 4. But, you know, if they can get their season on track, pick up a few wins early, they could be thereabouts come season end.
Yeah, I remember looking at this match and doing my prediction, and I straight off the bat I just picked Wildcard. I was like, bang, Wildcard. This is like an easy win for this team. But the more I think about it, the more worried I get about them, because I don't think they're anywhere near their potential peak. There's still a lot of recovery that needs to be done by this team. Stage 1 was incredibly rough, and now with the introduction of Molosca and Rousty into the squad, it's going to take some time. It always does, to try and rebuild this team. They look good on paper, but we just need to see that actually come into fruition.
Yeah, and look, it's one of the more interesting debates, right? Because obviously under Silex, you had plenty of excuses. There was so many excuses. But now that you got Molosca, you can go down the path of, okay, we're going to be back to how we used to be, or it'll take a little bit of time to get back to that sort of level. And I think it's going to be the second one. I think it's going to take them a little bit of time. I don't think they're going to necessarily go on and win, say, OCN Stage 2. But I think what they will want out of this stage is to put them in good stead, you know, going into Stage 3 and going into the back half of the year. And that's probably the goal. By the way, can I just say, guys, how many
You're going to say about the Xenox chairs, I know you're going to say it.
How many players just, like, I feel I'm humbled, you know? Like, thanks,
yeah, Milo's
guys.
got one, Vinny's got one. How many chairs have you signed, dude? That's insane.
I've signed a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie, you know? Let's go and have a look at their opponents for this game. It is going to be Rhythm, who they themselves have had a couple of little changes too. PB comes in for Supremacist.
Yeah, unfortunate for Supremacist. Really enjoyed his interviews, but unfortunately no longer in this squad. So keen to see what BB can bring to the table. And Rhythm, you know, we know the story. They've been around for quite some time under this brand. They've been dealt some pretty unfortunate cards in their time. They've always found it quite difficult to break it into the best of the best here in OCE. But who knows? Maybe this is the stage where they can start to turn things around.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If it's going to happen at some point, it has to happen at some point. Why not now? And they've shown good signs in the past. They've had decent games at times. You know, without sugarcoating it too much. You know, last season they actually had quite a few matches where they were able to win a couple of overtimes. I know they beat Order in an overtime, Wildcard in an overtime as well. And some of their losses were also in overtime too. So, yeah, and a quick little look here at the Wikipedia, and just to cheat a little bit, only 2 regular time losses over the course of 7 playdays. So that's not bad. If you were to say that about a team, you'd be thinking, hey, that's almost like a playoff team. And while it wasn't, because they had so many of their wins be in overtime, it does highlight that they're actually maybe a little bit more competitive than we've alluded to in the past.
Yeah, it's always felt like Rhythm have never been an absolutely terrible team, but they just haven't quite had the luck or whatever the little 1%ers are to get them over the line, and they've just been held back a little bit. I think in Stage 1, the 6th place result in the regular season was quite fitting and also quite impressive, again, considering the struggles that they have had. But they'll be looking to surpass that. Try and break into the top 5, I think, is probably what they're trying to aim for here. Try and make the playoffs. And a team like Wildcard, sure, they're a big name. There's a lot of big individual players on that roster. They are a team that I think Rhythm could take down.
Yeah, they are vulnerable at the moment while they are still rebuilding with Maloska. Let's go and have a cheeky look at the map here for our final one of the night. Is it something different again? Nah, it's where we started. It's Oregon. I do like Oregon though, so I'm pretty happy. Yeah, where we started is where we will end for this one. Wildcard and Rhythm, they're going to be heading to Oregon, guys. Does that change your mind about this matchup at all?
Not particularly. I'm still interested again. I know I said this at the start of the night, so I apologize for anyone that's probably going to hear this again, but Flores on Oregon, I believe, is just going to open it up even more, make it really exciting to watch. We've seen Flores throughout the night, and sure, he is quite powerful, but also quite interesting, and it allows, really, again, that attack to open up. So expect those hard hold positions traditionally on Oregon to not quite be as strong for the defense between these two teams.
Well, it's the final match of the week for OCN, as we will see which team of these two can walk away with a win. Neither have been able to do so. It's only been one play day though, but someone's going to, of course, be happy, and the other one's going to be not so happy. Wildcard coming off a 7-4 loss to Bliss. Rhythm coming off a 7-2 loss to the Knights. They now will meet head-to-head here to close out Playday 2.
What is BB doing? Is he no cap?
No, look, I don't think he's capping.
I think he might be.
You think so? I think he hasn't got enough. Oh.
How many has he got? 1, 2, I think it's 4. Ah, he got rid of it. That's a shame.
Do you think he's got hat hair?
It looks like it. I think half the team's going to have hat hair because both Lev and Drex are wearing beanies as well, so that can't be boding well in the hair department, but well, it is what it is.
Imagine talking about the hair department and not mentioning Emarine. Come on, guys.
True. Emarine does have the best hair in the region.
Well, we've had an entire ban phase go by, and looking at the list here, Thatcher, Maverick, Fade, and Wamai taken off the board. No real surprises.
No. Most importantly, though, Flores again has made it through, so that should make things quite spicy. And Wildcard will need to be on their toes, quite literally, because they don't want them blown straight off. And yeah, Novax straight away picking the Flores, which is cool to see. Outside of that, though, nothing too unexpected as we head to basement. You would expect the defense to do extensions inside of Bunker, Pillar, and Freezer as expected, but again, they could be quite precarious positions depending on how the attack decides to approach.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
The final match of the night, Rhythm, Wildcard. What have they got? And it feels like a must-win for arguably both teams, right? The community vote suggesting that it is quite even, 56% to 44%. Not necessarily, honestly, going to disagree with this. I think Rhythm's a team that is more than capable of defeating Wildcard. And for Wildcard, they're going to have to find wins, right? In this stage, you don't want to see a bottom 2 placing again for them in stage 2 now that Maloska's joined the team. That would be disastrous. Completely different stages when you've got Maloska in or you've got Silex in. So they need to be, at the very least, in my eyes, 5th or 6th at minimum, guys. Ideally, they, of course, would like to be in the top 4, but they need to be dispatching of teams like Rhythm if they're going to do that.
Yeah, I would agree. Top 4 should be the goal, and I think it is realistic. These players are incredible. Milo is a great pickup. Emarine's been around forever. Hat and Geo have really combined into a dynamic duo, and Vinny as well, teaming on as well. So a lot of good signs for Wildcard, but as I mentioned in the pre-show, it is going to take time, inevitably, for this team to mesh, for everything to feel right. Don't know how long that process is going to take. It could be the case of a couple of playdays. It could be the case of a couple of months. It could be 6 months. We just don't know how long that's going to take. But for Wildcard, for the team, for the fans, the sooner the better.
What do you think of Novax's name? It's had a couple of name changes over the last year or so.
Well, I think it was Drex that stole his 9, so that was a little bit rude, but...
Good old Nova 9.
Definitely less confusing now.
Rhythm on the attack, Wildcard on the defense here for Oregon, which, if we call back to the Order LFO match, was, I believe, a 3-3 half in the first half. So Wildcard could maybe go for the more standard 4-2 defensive half on Oregon that you would expect. Vinny, please do not give us a seizure there with the reticle spam.
Ankle grip. I can only ADS time or decrease rather. Increased in speed, decreased in time taken to ADS. Bit of a mind bender.
Is that how you like extend your essays?
It is actually. Don't tell my tutors. BB playing off the Gemini, thrusted in front of him by Leb. Ooh, Vinny playing his key position behind the box. Could boost up and try and deny the stairs, but instead is playing a little bit more passive, and that's probably the play. BB with 2x would win that engagement 9 times out of 10. Everything just frozen in time, as is the case typically for a basement attack on Oregon. Everything's nice and slow. We expect it to go from 0 to 100 pretty soon.
Yeah, especially with 35 seconds left. Shooting down, it's going to be a freezer push now from Rhythm. Pat close here. On the smoke, he can throw out these gas babes. Vinny loses out his fight inside a freezer. Swings in on Pat. He couldn't quite find his target. Swings again with a shotgun. Novax is able to grab Ema, and that's the shotgun pinned to good use from Pat. He now thinks about what he wants to do next. Unfortunately, though, Ghoul has the angle covered, and Moloska's left up into a 1 versus 3. Not ideal for the new member of Wildcard, especially with that diffuser down. Nice headshot, though, onto Drex inside a freezer, but it's not like Ghoul or Novax need to move much.
Milo needs to go big. Doesn't get covered on the cross initially, but is taken down by Ghoul. Close range with the bearing 9. A little bit awkward, but the attackers will close it out.
Good start for Rhythm in the attack, pushing in through Freezer. Had one as well coming in from Laundry, which eventually gave them that sort of pinch, and they were able to get the diffuser down. And you mentioned the time and the fact that I think we had about 35 seconds left on the clock. It was still 5 versus 5, and boy, did they just push in and get kill after kill against Wildcard. Vincier was holding inside a freezer. Pat was trying to help him afterwards, and unfortunately, neither of them could really have that much of an impact. They will repeat, though, down in basement.
Yep, back down below we go, and both teams bring similar lineups. Geo electing to bring the Goyo into the server. 2 golden shields can use inside. Some interesting lines of sight actually established here by Pat. Looking up into the top of the big tower, rotation towards attic. Hatch popped, and this indicates that we may see Wildcard get quite aggressive here on a roam of sorts. I don't think it will necessarily be a heavy team roam. You might see 1 or 2 individual players up above. If I had to hedge my bets, it would probably be someone like Milo. But we'll have to answer.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Wildcard's got to be careful that they don't squander their defensive half here on Oregon. It would be the end of the world. We saw Order sort of bring things back after a bit of a slow start. LFO kind of jumped them out the gate. Very different game, though. Already the difference between Order, LFO, and Oregon and Rhythm Wildcard guys is that not sensing as much urgency or aggression from Rhythm. Like, yeah, they made a freezer push with 35 seconds left, but a lot of this early game is actually quite slow. BB, though, pushing in, now at the bottom of white stairs. Doesn't go down freezer stairs, though. Geo will rotate back down those back stairs. But again, not really too much happening. I guess that's also a part of Wildcard's game. They're not really giving Rhythm much above. They're pretty defensive at the moment.
That roam no longer in place. Instead, the defenders will make their way back towards the site, and Vulcan Shield's still being repositioned as Wildcard try to ascertain exactly where this attack is coming from. At the moment, though, Rhythm taking it quite slowly, quite safely, just making sure that they can, I guess, dot their I's, cross their T's, etc. Make sure that above is clear. Ghoul gets the call that it is. 4x Kairos pellets on the security hatch, and I would assume he's going to follow that up with 4 on the meeting hatch as well. And that is his job for the most part done in this round. And now I really think the spotlight will be put on towards Novax. Those drones will be critical in helping clear out the next wave of utility.
Minute 15 on the clock. They now rotate over towards Blue Bunker. still got to clear out the deployable shield at elbow, but of course that now being reinforced, no one's playing that position. It's not really going to matter too much. The Rotero drone will go in and it will look to find some utility. Grab a few of these ADSs, grab these shields. He's got 4 of them, so he can take his time. Still 50 seconds on the clock, but you can see the positioning of Wildcard, guys, so defensive.
Vinny, inside of Pillar, tries to cut off the players that are trying to enter in towards Bunker. They almost line up. He lights up too, but doesn't find a kill. 35 seconds on the board, and Pillar has now been forfeited by the defense. Vinny will hold close. Pat as well on the cross. Leb, though, gets the first. That's big for Rhythm. Vinny responds.
Yeah, but Vinny's very low and then eventually gets eliminated by Drax. Pat, though, gets the trade. Keeps it a 3 versus 3. It's even. Gasbabe does go out. He has 2 more. Headshot onto Drax. He's just lighting them all up 1 by 1. Eventually, though, Nevaex will swing and is successful. Ghoul is down. Veloska, Imarin, they both combine. And Wildcard will take the 2nd round.
Another messy end to the round, but Wildcard able to capitalize upon those rotations established earlier. Rhythm not holding drones in those positions, not watching drones in those positions. And at the end, Pat holding on site. Milo late, sweeping through, able to close it out. A close round, but Wildcard do edge out.
Yeah, and they needed to as well. You wouldn't want to be losing basement twice in a row to open the account here. And now they can head upstairs for kids' dorms, 1-1. Further good signs from Rhythm, though, because they're winning a lot of these trades, guys. Kind of slow in terms of their attack. If we compare it to, say, LFO, I think LFO is maybe a good comparison in terms of team likeliness, in terms of their positioning, in terms of the standings. And it's like completely different though, right? Like we can compare them in terms of standings, but in terms of their playstyles, it's like they couldn't be further apart. LFO is all about go, 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 fast attacks, chaos, and Rhythm are actually a little bit slow in their playstyle, and they will then go for that push, not so much at like 20 seconds, but around that 30 to 40 second mark, then they'll make their push on the site, and they have done really well in getting some trades. Wildcard just winning out that time.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Fun fact, this is the first time Wildcard has played Oregon in 2021. And that is a cool start. So there you go. They haven't played it since the November Major in 2020 against Akami, where they lost 5-7. Feels like a lifetime ago now. And since then, yeah, they just haven't touched it. So it's been a little while. Rhythm, on the other hand, have played it quite extensively. LFO, Knights, Order, Ruffle, PK, all in 2021 and late 2020. So this is a bit more of an unknown quantity, I guess, for us as an outsider trying to ascertain whether or not Wildcard are any good, but also for Rhythm, as they don't really have much to work off either.
And this is another good site as well for Flores. Basement's really good for Flores, so is kids' dorms. I mean, you can argue basically just as a map, Oregon is, in my opinion, I think one of, if not the best map for Flores. It's definitely up there. And you can just get so much utility, and there's not much you can really do to stop those drones coming in unless you put yourself in an unfavorable position. If that's the case, then guys, then the Flores is doing its job anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about drones. Ghoul will drone through attic in towards pit. That will be called clear, and Leb will make sure of that, following up with a drone of his own. They can set up one to watch the cross, and Leb can also set one inside of games as well. So those are 2 really nice drones established here by the attack. They need to be careful, of course, of their flanks as well. Geo is in basement, making his way up towards lobby. Drex and Leb could be in his line of fire late.
And again, this slow approach from Rhythm. There's nothing wrong with it necessarily. Especially if they're winning their trades late into the rounds, which they were able to do in the first round and were close to doing so again in the second. But Kids Dorms is a different beast compared to Basement. There's less sightlines. You know, Basement can get opened up quite heavily once you gain control of like Pillar and Blue, or you gain control of Freezer and Laundry. It becomes a little bit difficult to defend, but Kids Storms is a bit different. If you're not finding early peaks and it becomes this sort of 30-second madness, I would be backing in the defensive team here, and that's exactly what's going to happen if they're not careful. Maloska with 1, Vinny with 2, and yeah, this is almost expected when you play the slow approach on kids' dorms. Maybe I should just stop talking, because as I keep talking, it just gets worse for Rhythm. It's flawless. Yeah. Well, that all just came to fruition.
It did. And part of the reason why that really did collapse in the way that it did is Rhythm didn't clear down below. Milo, for example, who got one of the opening picks, was just able to freely get it up through the floor into pit. And then there was a lot of damage outside of that also done from below. So Rhythm not really doing a great job in clearing out some of those key positions. Wildcard doing a great job as well in not giving away free picks. And in the end, they do deserve to win that round. They convert that round and they claim the lead.
I mean, it was impressive from Wildcard, but I don't really think they did too much in that round, right? Like, we've been pretty positive on the night as a whole from the teams that played earlier. A lot of the times, you know, saying things like, oh, that was really good from them or was really good from that. But I don't really think Wildcard did anything too crazy. Held good positions, as you said, you know, maintaining presence down below and having that vert control. I just think Rhythm's attack was just a little bit too slow, didn't quite clear things out, and as you mentioned, couldn't really get vert control, and that time management really did come back to bite them in the end too, right? Because there wasn't that much time on the clock. You get to 30 seconds left, you suddenly haven't cleared out things that maybe you should have cleared out, and so things are obviously just going to go from bad to worse. So we do change up sites though. It's going to be kitchen meeting here for our 4th round. Wildcard looking pretty good here in the last 2 rounds.
Emorin at the start of this round jumping straight away onto the default cams, and he'll call out that the attackers spawned on the southern side towards the front door. You would assume that Rhythm will go for a clear, take above control, and then transfer that over towards Attic and Pit. It will be contested, of course, by Wildcard, Geo at the top of White Stairs, as well as a couple of other players above potentially as well. It will be droned out by Leb. Milo is the second player. Has been discovered inside of the kid's bedroom. Leb with a foothold inside of Truth. You can start to think about pressuring that location. The rest of the team actually pushing horizontally, trying to hit site directly from dining.
Wildcard just being really annoying in their positions here at kids' dorms, and Rhythm are going to have to clear them out. So keeping control above vertically of kitchen and meeting is the goal here. That Gemini gets shut down immediately. A little bit of information, at least onto Maloska's position now, is gathered for Rhythm, and they are looking to pretty much capitalize on this immediately. But Geo's position wasn't well known, and he's able to swing out and catch one at White Stairs. He does get traded. Now Pat can get involved, and a lot of the fighting is happening around kids' dorms, despite this being kitchen meeting. It's the way it goes as Ghoul got one, but traded again. And this has just been a common theme. Maloska, oh no, Milo. That's not what you like to see. 2 versus 2, minute on the clock. And a chance gone begging there for Wildcard. It's up to Vinny and Emorin versus Drax and Ghoul.
Yeah, Milo seemingly tasked with creating rotates. I can only assume earlier in that round with the TCSG. Didn't have many bullets to work with at all in that engagement. That's why he was using the pistol for the most part, and it does catch him off guard, unable to inflict enough damage to find that pick. Nonetheless, though, Wildcard do still have the advantage with HP, and Vinny and Emorin are very well skilled and very well versed winning out these kinds of scenarios. I can only assume that Emorin has intel as well, but he doesn't see that. Ghoul gets a quad, but gets shut down by Emo! A double to close things out, and Milo chucks on the glasses, because that was a damn cool clutch.
That was cool. And Wildcard looking pretty cool as well in the last couple of rounds, and now take a 3-1 lead. And I liked a bit more from this round, at least from Rhythm's sake. They got into their rhythm just a bit quicker. Ghoul with a quad. Vinny just unfortunate with that positioning, but Emorin had him covered, and then he was clean with the transition headshot 3-1 start now for Rhythm inside of the first 4 rounds, 3 in a row. They're looking pretty good here on Oregon defense. If they can get a pretty substantial lead here on the back of their defensive half, well, they'll be confident going into their attack.
Wow, Emo just doesn't lose those 5 where that was quite the clutch. And Wildcard now looking to establish a strong lead and try and really get things off on this defensive half. Back down below we go. Wildcard shut this out quite well last time. Thinking back, Pat inside of the B bomb site, playing close with the shotgun, and then Milo sweeping out on the rotation late round to really put it off for Rhythm. I think in order for Rhythm to be a little bit more efficient this time, they need to try and take map control a bit faster, drawing things out a little bit quicker, and really start working those hatches and applying pressure to Pillar, to Bunker, really early on. And I think they need to lean a little bit more again into that Flores, and Novex should be trying to utilize those drones a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and it's good that you mentioned the Flores too, because that's been the highlight really of the night, not just on Oregon, but almost on all of the maps really. Oregon, Consular, and Chalet, of the maps that we've had tonight. The Flores has been so impactful when used correctly. I'm not implying that Novex is using it incorrectly, but it's just compared to some of the other matches, maybe we're not seeing it as impactful as it maybe could be. In saying that though, we're on Oregon and Wildcard's on the defense. There's only so much you can really expect from Rhythm here. Probably 2 round wins is what you would have expected at the start of this map and this match, but they've got a couple more rounds, 2 more in fact, to see if they can get more than 1.
Drones being set up, and Novex takes control of meeting. Player to watch here really is Ghoul, and not only did he absolutely pop off in the frag department in the last round, but here in round number 5, those ex-Kairos will be really important. Just caught out of the corner of my eye, Vinny, in fact, top floor. Sincere looking to make Probe have a little bit of a cheeky impact in this round. The hatch is up inside of meeting. There's also a rotation to the rear stage stairs, and I'm not sure Rhythm know exactly where he is.
By attackers.
And that could be their downfall if they're not careful. Getting close to that minute mark. We're getting close to that time again where Rhythm, around that 30 to 40 second margin, will make their push. They did favor Freezer last time. Freezer and Laundry Pinch, which was effective in the first round. Vinny though, oh, this just changes the game entirely. He gets 1. He takes out Novex. No more Rotero drones. And with 40 seconds left, guys, that's going to make things very difficult for Rhythm down a player.
Very tough indeed. Emo, again, having a huge impact to shut down Drex. 30 seconds left on the board. Lev tries to get something going over towards Pillar and does find a foothold. Just sends it down the long hallway, but Gio says, no, that's not happening on my watch. And now Ghoul and BB are in the 2-on-4.
Yeah, and not much time here to make this happen. So it's 4-1 for Wildcard over Rhythm. Unless BB can make some big boy plays, it's not happening. Vinny inside a Freezer. Clutches up, and so far it is job done for Wildcard at 1-4. They're just going to keep on keeping on against Rhythm.
Happy days for Wildcard. It's been a strong start for them in this matchup, and if they can close out the half 5-1, I think it's safe to say that we could pencil this in as a very strong chance of being a win, as they have been looking pretty tidy across the board. It's just unfortunate slip-ups from Rhythm that are costing them. 1 player on the roam just completely dislodging their entire attack. They were forced to just send it and see what they could do, but of course on most occasions that's not going to work out.
No, and we head over to Kids Dorms, which is not a site that Rhythm probably are going to be happy to see here, because they struggled immensely in the previous attempt. It was flawless, I want to say, if I can remember. But even if it wasn't, it was pretty much flawless, right? So Wildcard were they had that vert control. They basically didn't allow Rhythm anything, and that's one thing that Wildcard's been good at in this match here on Oregon, guys, is they're not really throwing player lives away. They're not going for weird spawn peaks. They're not doing anything too silly or too brash. They're keeping it pretty much structured, and then just playing off of that and not giving Rhythm a look in.
5 seconds left.
100%. They are locking out their opponents, sort of suffocating them to an
Attackers
extent.
are moving.
They're trying to force their hand, force mistakes, and when you're on the attack, you are the team that naturally is forced into making moves, but Wildcard making it very difficult for said moves to be made effectively. An opportunity though to salvage something from this half. Maybe it'll be Ghoul to step up once again, try and carry the team across the line in this first half. It's been a strong start for him. One round in particular, we got the quad, not quite enough, but it was a solid effort again, considering he is playing that hard bridge.
Oscar on the roam over towards backstairs. You'll most likely make his way over to the other side of the map momentarily. I'd like to see Rhythm really, in their final attacking round of the half, shake things up a bit.
Located by attacker.
Don't have to go for some sort of crazy rush, but just look to go a little bit quicker into their setup, into what they want to do. Minute 45 as they open up that attic wall. They are at least putting pressure through Trophy.
Shots rain out.
I'm reloading.
3 players from Wildcard for a brief second there, but all looking at intel, so Wildcard have a lot to work off here that they're trying to, in fact, play off effectively.
User has been dropped. Attackers recovered.
Are they sending anyone at all to clear below?
Doesn't look like it. No, they didn't last time. That was a bit of a downfall for them, but they're going to try and commit to something here, Rhythm. Games Wall has a line of sight. Geo is also down below. Nitro Cell in hand. So much
Dead.
intel to play off.
Bye-bye.
It's a perfect ping. It's a perfect kill. And that's the lead early in this round for Wildcard.
He goes back and he escapes. He runs as fast as he can over towards Freezer Stairs. Ledge following, but it's too late. Although he knows where he's going to be coming from. Oh, Geo anyway! That's insane! Lab was waiting. He knew exactly when and where he was coming from. NS in the chat. You can only throw your hands up after that shot from Geo, who was full steam ahead of momentum. BB in a 1 versus 5, and just like last time, guys, on Kids Dorms, it's going to be flawless again.
And it is. Wildcard to close out the half.
Flawless from Wildcard so far in that first half. 5-1 finish. Welcome back here to Oceanic Nationals presented by Samsung. Not just Samsung, but also Livin. And that's something that Rhythm are struggling to do right now, which is to stay alive. But Livin's been a big, big sponsor for OCN over the course of 2021. We're excited to have them back. And we're excited to see Wildcard playing in this manner as well, guys, because this is, you know, the Wildcard that we haven't seen for a little while after their roster issues.
Yeah, it has been a while, and we have to look way back to, wow, like what, early 2020 to think about the Wildcard that we used to, you know, back into every single matchup of every single tournament that they played in. So it has been a bit of a delay in the action, but they're back slowly. Again, it is against Rhythm, so we don't want to get too overly hyped that this is like absolute peak resurgence of the Wildcard dynasty, but it is a good positive sign because Wildcard have been struggling against a lot of different teams in recent history. So this is a good start for them, but they will be tested on their attack. Don't get me wrong. Oregon likely will still lean into the side of the defense, and Wildcard needs to try and buck that trend.
It also says a little bit more about yesterday's result, right? The 7-4 Bliss win off the back of Bliss defeating Knight 7-5. Well, maybe Wildcard are actually the improved Wildcard like we expected, but they just went up against the Bliss onslaught that's playing really well at the moment. And we're seeing Wildcard with a bit more freedom here against Rhythm, who have really struggled so far on their attack, but at least now they're on the defense, so they're able to be in a position where they can replicate the defensive efforts of Wildcard. Velasco, though, having pretty much free reign above here inside of Kids and Attic.
Trying to find
No pressure.
something. Yeah, this is the issue. Rhythm are sort of being forced into uncomfortable positions, and Wildcard allowed to pretty freely move around, create angles, and make them feel very uncomfortable. Vinny's trying to assist in this pinch, and off the back of that pressure from above, can try and enter in towards Kitchen. He does. There's a player inside of security that he doesn't quite see. Flicks, but misses. Fortunately, though, he will survive, and Emerin elsewhere will drop Drex.
Jammer deployed.
Well, a decent little effort from Rhythm to sort of play above, but it has come unstuck pretty quickly, and then you've lost the player for it. I don't mind when teams do that, though, guys. It takes, you know, a bit of balls to play a little bit differently there. It's very easy on a site like, you know, Basement here on Oregon to just turtle up on site, play defensively, and allow basically Wildcard to do whatever they want. But that little kitchen and security setup and look for something and to stall out Wildcard a bit, I like that from Rhythm. Especially when you're down 5-1, you want to obviously
Drop the bomb.
give yourselves the best chances of winning, and that's to play a little bit differently, not to do the same old.
Diffuser will be collected though by Wildcard, and it looks like they'll try and set up for a laundry push. Ghoul and Novakes rotating down below in expectation for that to occur. It's going to be a tricky execute. Wildcard needs some pressure inside of Freezer to try and pinch these players out. Milo with the diffuser in hand will be the player to watch.
Clear that shield first, 20 seconds left. But of course they've got that man advantage, so at this point it's a little bit different. But Avax is going to at least even things up, at least for the moment. They should be able to take care of Leb. Never mind, he literally just walked straight on top of him, and Vinny got the team kill onto Moloska. It's a bit messy at the moment, but Gio is coming up big when you want him to do so. Only 2 seconds, and Gio does not have the kit, and that is going to be the round win for Rhythm.
Operators, you have run out
Close
of
there in
time.
the end. If Geo swings a second earlier, they probably would have won the round.
Cool.
Wildcard, but Ghoul says pew pew. I'll take that under my wing, and they managed to close out the round. It was a pretty messy execute there from Wildcard in the end. Milo getting popped in the head by his teammate really did not help out whatsoever, but it is what it is, just one of those things, and they'll look to move on.
Good signs, and that's probably where Rhythm's at now in this game. You go down 5-1 deficit, it's hard to bring it back. We've seen it, of course. Oregon's a good map for it too. Without even going into that infamous 6-0 comeback in APAC South, it is just that sort of map where if defense is impenetrable, you can go on a pretty hefty run and collect quite a few round wins in a row. And that's basically what Rhythm's going to have to bank on here against Wildcard, who have obviously already got to 5. They need one more to get that match point. I think generally when teams get that match point, it's almost like the perceived pressure suddenly just rises that little bit more, where you don't even have that one slip-up opportunity. Whereas right now, Rhythm can technically slip up and then it only goes to 2-6. But when it is that match point, you lose, you're done. So chance here for Rhythm, though, as they go up to Kid Storms, which was flawless for Wildcard. See if they can replicate that.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Aruni being brought into the lineup here by Leb. Those Sawyer gates can be used to help deny some of the entries, as well as offer additional projectile denial alongside Ghoul and those ADS devices that the Jaeger
The attacker's
has
bomb
to offer.
diffuser has been dropped.
The Western spawn here from Wildcard, a quick take in towards Showers as they make their intent known. Unlike their counterparts in Rhythm, Wildcard want control below inside of Kitchen. Probably a wise decision, as there are a couple of players situated underneath the objective. BB and Ghoul ready and waiting. Wildcard wanting to find these kills, because not only will it give them the man advantage, but help them in obtaining
Attackers have
objective
recovered their
control.
diffuser.
Sideline opened up for Vinny. Ooh, early swing. That's nice from Rhythm. Just puts the pressure onto Vinny, causes him to question a few things here. And it's very similar to the setup that they had in the prior round, but this time, of course, rather than being in basement, they're above kids' dorms. Now they're going to fall back. It's kind of job done. Waste a bit of time here for Wildcard, but Wildcard are a little bit more concerned about establishing vert control than
Attackers
Rhythm
have
were.
located a bomb.
When Rhythm were on the attack, they were a bit more horizontal take. Wildcard, of course, want to get control of kitchen.
Ghoul and Z looking to try and hold this position or at least find some drones. 5 taken down already by Rhythm and 5 remain for Wildcard. Ghoul's been looking red hot at times in this matchup, but now's an opportunity for him to really make a name for himself. If he can find the likes of Milo or his counterparts alongside Vinny, it would really change the tide in this round, but it's a bit of a standoff at the moment. No one really wanting to make that first move.
He's going to be the first one to find a pick. There's a second from Gio shortly afterwards to follow it up. Minute left, 2-man advantage now for Wildcard, and it's seemingly cruise control from here, you would have to think, for the remainder of this round with this advantage. In saying that, though, Kids Dorms, as I mentioned before, is a site that can be difficult to crack at times if the defense are hard to dislodge from the site. The Gemini will go out, get a bit of information. They know there's one inside of Kids. Dorms is clear, though. 35 seconds.
Gio wants to try and get in towards the objective here. Pat as well will want to get that diffuser planted. He can throw out a smoke canister to try and cover the vault in. It does work successfully, but he gets shut down by Novax, hidden in the corner. Emarin gets the call, but he himself is also killed. Gio on a lick of HP needs to try and clutch up, but he as well will be shut down by Novax. It's Vinny to try and clutch up, but there's nothing he can do, and Rhythm hold out the onslaught.
And I'm so glad that I mentioned that even at a 3-5 deficit, Kids Dorms is not exactly that easy to take. You can hold those positions, find some picks pretty comfortably. It was a good start for Wildcard, and if you're going to be taking Kids Dorms, you would want that 2-man advantage. But they all just funnel in through big window. Geo Pat just taken down too easily. I think even I might have missed Nevaix sitting in the back side of Dorms originally, and maybe Wildcard have done the same there. Very unfortunate result for Wildcard, but well played by Rhythm. And look, they're coming alive here on the defense, as you would kind of expect here on Oregon. And
yeah, attack pause for Rhythm. They're just going to get their thoughts together and make sure everything's in check. Of course, if they lose the next round, then they cannot get full points in this matchup, so it's quite an important one. At that, I think they can be quite happy with how the last round played out. Novax really did step up. I would have been a little bit more concerned for Rhythm had Novax died there. Wildcard probably would have been in a good position to close it out, but they didn't in the end, of course. And actually see Ghoul seems to be the one leading the charge here with the comms, so interesting to see that. And yeah, I honestly did not know what if Ghoul was taking on, I guess, a bit more of an IGL leadership role, and that, at least in this tactical timeout in isolation, would seem to be the case.
that tactical timeout now has expired. Full credit to Rhythm. It's pretty easy to just sort of roll over when you're down, 1-5, but they've been able to win the last 2 rounds and show that they are just as capable on their defense here on Oregon as Wildcard were. It's a good opportunity to really put pressure on Wildcard. If this continues to snowball, guys, and you make it 4-5 and then suddenly 5-5, you have to wonder if Wildcard are going to have the attacking prowess to be able to break through the Rhythm defense. Now, we head over to Meeting Kitchen. If Wildcard's going to find a site to win, I would hope it's this one.
Yeah, well, they are employing an interesting decision here. Wildcard that is bringing the Kali into the lineup. A sniper with the Lancers that can clear utility. And I gotta say, that is a little bit peculiar. We don't often see Kali on any map, but Oregon in particular doesn't strike me as a map where Kali would see a whole lot of play, even as a pocket pick. So definitely something to keep our eye on. Will Emarin be effective in shutting down line to sight with the sniper, or clearing utility, or Or both.
Attackers are
Or
moving
maybe
out to
something else
locate a
entirely.
bomb and
I'm
defuse
not
it.
entirely sure at that, so keen to see exactly what Emery does.
Looks like Gould might be setting up for a third floor big tower defense with those ADSs. We saw Bailey from Order earlier tonight playing a similar position at times. Mixed results. I think those ADSs will help. Drone not long for this world. But despite its early death, it did at least gain the information that there's a player up there.
Oh, here's Emo with the sniper. We could see the trail from Ghoul's POV earlier. Pat taking a little bit of damage elsewhere, maybe trying to get to work with Hard Breach. Not this early into the round. No, just on the roof, so not sure how exactly that happened. But either way, Ghoul still above in Big Tower. Swings the rappel, but doesn't quite hit the mark. He is wasting a lot of time, and I think that's really the primary objective.
Time and utility. And this is what we were seeing from Bailey as well for Order. And at one point, he wasted like a good minute or so, maybe even a minute and a half. And another one, he did get killed pretty early on in the piece. So it can play out both ways. And it is kind of tricky for Gould to get out of this position once they've got him sort of pinned down. While Oscar finding a pick elsewhere. That's going to be Leb.
Ghoul, he's right there.
Oh,
yes. Okay. I was going to say, if he didn't kill Marlo there, it would have been a little bit concerning. Geo not in a position
Oh, this is
frag
so
it. Oh,
messy.
Vinny, Wildcard falling apart. Ghoul is going absolutely huge, but he is eventually traded. Pat comes along and says, boys, if you can't do it, I will. The 5.56 with the 2x does prove to be the play, and now it's a 3-on-3.
50 seconds left in the round as well. So plenty of time still here for Wildcard. They've still got Pat alive, all those exothermic charges, and the Rotero drones as well for Geo. Now that that's been opened up, he can go in, he can clear things, clear utility. There's a frost mat there as well, just at the bottom of the stage. Got to be careful. Emo in though. I don't think the Vex was expecting the swing through the Sawyer gate. Fortunately though, Drex was watching behind him. BB above in attic. The last two players for Wildcard, Pat and Geo down below. Nice shot though from Geo. Can he get a second one? He just falls off. They have the information. That's all they need. They know where Drex is going to be coming from. They have him pinned down. Geo will finish what he started. Wildcard have got match point.
Geo's just too good. He doesn't lose those. And Wildcard are able to claim match point. That was a big round. He's right there. And it pays off. It was very messy at the start. Ghoul did great. But Pat did really well, I guess, to bring that back. And then Emo in that really calculated aggression despite getting traded was also a fantastic decision. And then Geo just at the end. Two really clean shots. Drex narrowly misses the SMG. That does cost them the round.
And now you got to kind of wonder, is this when Rhythm should have been able to save their timeout? Now it's match point. Obviously, within the timeout that they had, the purposes of it for their reasons were probably valid, but 3-6 now. Wildcard got 3 chances to conclude this match and pick up their first 3 points of OCN Stage 2, which, based off of the results that we've had tonight, would see them fare well in the standings. Based on the fact that, you know, Knights are on 3 points, you've got LFO on 3. There's a lot of teams on 3 points. You've got Roffelcopter on 2. So a good win here for Wildcard, plus the round differential would see them actually shoot up the standings into probably, like, you know, 4th or 5th.
Yeah, and outside of just the standings boost on paper, I think mentally it would be a nice break for the team, which for the most part has been struggling, and it'll give them some semblance of normality or confidence that, hey guys, like, you know, we can go in and beat these other teams within OS, which is something that they have been struggling with recently, again, with the departure of Diesel early this year, and Salix having to step in. But now that Milo has filled that spot over the transfer period, things are starting to look up for Wildcard, and this could be the first time we really see that come to fruition. It's been a solid map for them so far, but the job is still pretty far from done. A lot can happen on Oregon attacks. A lot can go wrong, and they'll be looking to make sure things are tidy. Pat with the entry onto Drex.
Oh.
They're in the site. They are in the site.
Attackers dropped the
Yes, but they've been also beaten up already, and they've just lost 2 players in Pat and Uma, and Moloska's down. Vinny and Gio need to start getting a couple of kills back. Ghoul even got a knife kill. Gio got one, but he loses his life immediately afterwards. And the rush from Wildcard proving to be ineffective. But Nevaex and Ghoul, half health. Vinny, there's a chance here that he could pull off the miraculous, but that's still what it would be. Banshee there, he has to get rid of it. Of course, can now shoot it when it's opened up. Needs to, of course, now get this diffuser. Has a minute 40, as this was off the back of a rush. And yet, well played from Rhythm. Trigger discipline and position discipline. 4-6. All right, girl. Jeez, what did I do?
Yeah, that was quite interesting there from Wildcard. Now, I don't know if that was a premeditated play, if that was calculated off the back of some site intel and drones inside of lobby, but ultimately, either way, it wasn't really the play. Freeze across, the long haul cross was enough to just completely shred that attempt. And it's unfortunate for Wildcard, but they'll get the map closed on the second floor, which is always dope, because the second floor is the best site on Oregon. But it is an opportunity now. There is an opportunity for Rhythm to start crawling this one back. They've been given a bit of a lifeline by Wildcard.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Just need
as
to
many
actually
bombs as they
capitalize
can.
upon that.
Still match point though for Wildcard. 2 more chances, and I sense that they're not going to be looking to rush kids' dorms. Not feasibly as likely. You can go for the odd big window rush, but usually there's a lot of utility that is placed around it. Makes it difficult. I think that they will go for the more structured approach, probably clear out kitchen, security, get control below, and make their play
10
from
seconds left.
that. What can Rhythm do, though, to continue their chances of maybe sending this to overtime? Again, at the start of this match, guys, I
Attackers must locate
had a
and
look back
defuse
at
a
the
bomb.
results for stage 1. Only 2 regular time losses from 7 play days. They made it to OT quite often.
Yep. Puts the ball in Wildcard's court. Can they close out this match? You would assume that with the amount of experience on this team, that those mental demons wouldn't be quite as strong, and they should be feeling quite cool, calm, and collected, quite comfortable getting this 7th round. Upstairs is the attack, the Western entrance again here for Wildcard. We've seen them in the past play quite aggressively down below here, try and take control of kitchen. I don't see any reason why they would deviate from that plan too far. Emerin does kick things off by throwing some X-Kairos onto the kitchen wall. A line of sight quite deep, quite long towards that fortified position below the objective, as the rest of the team, like Pat for example, hold crosses above. So nothing unexpected so far. A foot hasn't really been put wrong by either team.
Loading mag!
Yeah, in stark contrast to the previous round from Wildcard, whereby I think at this point the round was over. Not a surprise to see them go back to normality for this second attempt at closing out their match points. Which they better do, otherwise they could go the way of Chiefs. You know, Chiefs had 3 overall match points and
A bomb
they
has
blew
been
all
located.
3 of them, Guz. Wildcard could be in a similar predicament if they're not careful. Rhythm is more than capable of getting this one to overtime. The drone spotted. Oh, but it did enough, though, to get the information onto Drex, who was taking a beating from below, I believe by Moloska.
Yeah, Milo doing some really good work there with the skeleton key. Good, quick communication there from Wildcard to make that play happen. Unfortunately for them, not quite enough to get the kill, but Milo did so much damage that one more shot is enough to get the down. Converted into a frag, and that is the opener going to Wildcard. With 45 seconds to go, they have control down below. BB can maybe try and make a rotation, but that will be tough. Vinny and Patno elsewhere have been dropped. Leb goes big. BB can make it back towards the site. Wildcard wounded. This is going to be a tough execute.
Yeah, Vinny's back up, but he's low. The gas babe at the top of White Stairs is going to make it difficult for him to push through. Oscar still with that skeleton key, doing work down below. Imarin just had to readjust, and BB will punish him. Advantage Rhythm with 15 seconds left. Geo gets another one. The barbed wire is just slowing down Molosca, but now he has to just move forward, push into bedroom. Now in towards Trophy. BB those there. Oh, the nice little swing. 2 versus 1, but no time. Molosca, unfortunately, will have to get Nevax in goal, and he hasn't got any time on the clock. Rhythm have now made it 5-6. One more to go. Any more signs, Ghoul? Yeah, there it is.
Right on cue, and Rhythm able to hold on right on cue. Wildcard doing a great job to establish control below, but they didn't open game's walls. They didn't pressure from pit. And that meant that a lot of their effort was over towards White Stairs, where they got mowed down, and Double Window, where they also found it really difficult to get things going. Milo left isolated in the 1-on-2, didn't have really any time to work with. A little bit concerning for Wildcard, but, you know, they don't look too frazzled. Just got to refocus and get the next round over the line.
Yeah, tactical timeout for Wildcard, and we can sit back and appreciate the awesomeness of Vinny's chair. No, but seriously, 5-6, and right now all the credit has to go to Rhythm, because they were down 1-5. So they've been able to really just turn this around. Not too surprising. The fact that they're on defense, Oregon, you know, plays a part of it, and that's why we never really ever get too excited when we see a team go 5-1 up in the first half on their defense on a map like Oregon. It's hard to be like, oh my god, this game's over. It's over. No. Obviously, Wildcard are in the driver's seat, but there is a way back for Rhythm. And then they've shown that they're able to find that way back. 5-6. We've got yet another close match. It has been such a close night tonight, guys. Do we have a second OT brewing?
Maybe. Meeting Kitchen will be the
Defenders,
site.
protect your bombs from
Quite a bit of meeting played between these two. In fact, it was Geo last time that really stepped up massively late in the round for Wildcard to win it out. Outside of that, it wasn't overly convincing. Wildcard has some real teething issues clearing out the top of Big Tower, where Leb is positioned at the moment, and sure, they were able to bring it back, but it was a little bit messy. So if Wildcard can tighten that up, assuming Ghoul decides to play there once again, then it should be a Wildcard round, but you just never know how many curveballs are going to be thrown.
I don't know if you can say it should be a Wildcard round
5 seconds left.
in any fashion. You know, you think back to when there was like 30 seconds left on that Kid Storms push. They had a 5-on-3 advantage. Yeah, Kid Storms is not always that easy to take, even with a 2-man advantage. But even that, you would usually say, oh, they should win from here. But credit to Rhythm, the way that they've been able to play defensively, you know, very similar to Wildcard's defense here at Oregon. They've just gone toe-to-toe. Now, you could also frame it in a different way, but it would be a bit negative, is that both teams have just struggled a little bit on their attacks. Which I don't think is entirely true, because we've actually seen a lot of the attacks go back and forth. Swing from Ghoul, almost eliminating Molosca. And it's about even. It's actually a pretty fair little trade between the two in terms of their health. Oh, that's going to get him.
Big. Nice. Geo with the grenade bounces it off the windowsill. And that is a much more efficient clear. Yep. Faster than last time, less bodies dropped. In fact, Wildcard actually now have the man advantage as opposed to the disadvantage they did last time they took on this objective. So that will instill them with some confidence. It will allow them to take map control over towards Big Tower. And that's a great start for Wildcard.
Would not be counting out Rhythm from here, though. Down a player. They have been so impeccable on their defense. Lacrosse Mats in some positions that might catch player of Wildcard. Drex wondering if he wants to be the one to take a swing. The Gemini runs by. He just blows it up immediately. Vinny's watching that hallway. Minute 15 on the clock. Match point for Wildcard. It's their final one. You lose this, and you can no longer get all 3 points.
Emo being able to send out a lance, and that does enable Pat to place an exothermic onto the wall and open up the rear stage. As a player, quite aggressive on that angle. It's Drex. He is punished. It's a clean shot from Emo Rin. It's a 5-3-man advantage for Wildcard. They still have 9 drones to work with. Quite a bit of utility as well, such as the 2 smoke grenades from Pat, which will prove really important in cutting down rotates later into this round. But BB does make a last-ditched attempt to get his team back into this round. Milo has been dropped, and he'll be on drone duty for the remainder of this one.
And Leb just repositioning now over towards Attic and could actually make the flank at the last moment here. Or spotting the head of Geo. Geo's aware, though, of Leb's presence over in Attic. They haven't quite cleared it out yet, so that's a bit of a duel that's happening. Geo losing out at the moment, but he is fighting until the end. Emo with another pick onto BB. That diffuser didn't quite go down yet, but they're fighting the pick. The Vex, though, 1 versus 3. Now 1 versus 2. Can he make it a 1 versus 1? He's got too many times to look at.
No.
Oh, the Vex has won it! The Frostmat! Overtime! Frostmat plus Novaix! Wildcard have ballsed it up!
What has happened there?
No!
All you can do is laugh. That's what Rhythm are literally doing. They are laughing. That round was Wildcards. That was their round. They started off perfectly. It was a 1 versus 4, and then Novaix steps up hugely. It was a team kill as well. From Vinny on to Emo Rin, they just choked at every single available opportunity. That is a choke. Simple as that.
I mean, you can say that, but then it's taking away from the performance there of Novaix. Under the pressure that he was under, you've still got to hit those shots. You've still got to be impactful. Yes, Wildcard. Should they have capitalized? Yeah, they should have. They should have been able to win from there. But full credit to Novaix, full credit to Rhythm. They've earned this overtime. It's 6-6, our second overtime in a row. And Rhythm now have an opportunity themselves to actually go and win in overtime. This was where, you know, they kind of had issues, Guz, in stage 1. They were getting these OTs, but just kept losing them.
Oh, what was that last round?
Got to move on. And that's what Wildcard needed to do.
I got to move on. So to Wildcard, because that has got to hit the mental hard. I feel sorry for Milo in particular. He's probably looking down. He's like, oh yeah, 12v1, like, lads, yeah. Probably start taking monitor off. And then all of a sudden, nope. Defenders win the round. And now Rhythm can continue that form as they start defense on, or in overtime. Ooh, that is a rough round, but as you mentioned, no time to dwell on past mistakes. Wildcard need to try and salvage this map. They'll get at least 1 point, but they want to try and get 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Without harping too much on the previous round, what this does do is now Wildcard have got to make sure that they keep an eye on their mental state, because you can no longer get 3 points. And that's a little bit demoralizing. Whereas for Rhythm, it's that relief. You've secured 1 point, and now you can just sort of follow up on all the work that you've done in the last couple of rounds and go and get that second one. For Wildcard, it feels like they're leaving points on the table. For Rhythm, it feels like they're snatching them. So it's different mental aspects on both sides that are coming into play here, coming into the overtime. So Rhythm on the defense, this is a big round. You win this, and you've basically put yourself in pole position to win the map, because you will get a second chance at defending later. Lab with the opening pick under Moloska with the Nitrocell, and they just keep on keeping on here with the momentum here for Rhythm. They can feel the rhythm.
Milo taken down, limits some of the soft destructibility available now to Wildcard, but that said, most of the rotations have already been made. Being basement, there's not a whole lot of top-down vert that can really be meaningfully established. That was an interesting setup there from the defense. A deployable shield facing towards the showers corridor, but no one, of course, holding that at the moment. Rhythm have voluntarily fallen off these positions, instead playing in towards site. And Wildcard will need to try and formulate a plan to tackle that quite quickly. It looks like we may see freezer and laundry squeeze, but
Attackers have located
again,
a
at
bomb.
the man disadvantage on a basement attack, it's always tough, and Drex also has a really powerful mirror positioned facing in towards that A side as well.
45 seconds left in this first overtime round. Overtime match point for the winner of this particular round. Drop down, Nitrocell out from Drex immediately to follow, and it is perfect right onto the head of Vinny. Gio was able to find a kill, but they're just losing too many back the other way. Emarin down in the corridor. Gio, the last one alive for Wildcard, knows there's a play behind the pillar. Ring around the Rosie. It's successful. Does catch BB. Drex and Nevaix the last two. And there's still plenty of time here for Gio to make something happen. Throws out the nade. It's not going to find the target. In fact, the target was behind him. Overtime. Match point. Rhythm.
Textbook from Rhythm. Once they got that man advantage, they played off it really, really well. And yes, Gio is deadly. And yes, Gio can, on occasion, clutch those out. Rhythm held their nerve, they held the crosses required, and they closed it out in a confident fashion. Wildcard now need to find something on their defense. They're not going to go base, and instead, up above.
And I like that choice because every single time we saw Wildcard in their defensive half in the first half, they were flawless on Kid Storms. And, you know, a lot of people would generally see teams choose to go basement on Oregon. But I like this. You're just basing this off, you know, results that weren't too far along, you know, long ago. And Rhythm never actually looked like taking this site even remotely, guys. Like, it was never even close the last two times. Now, I guess the good news for Rhythm is there's only the only way up. Yeah, the only way is up, right? For the ability for them to win this particular site. So that's all I can really say in regards to that. It's overtime match point. It's been a crazy night, let alone just this match.
It has been quite hectic, but that is the OSMA. That is the way we roll. That's the way we like it. That's
5 seconds to
the way it's going to be. What can Wildcard do, though? They don't want this to be too wild.
Oh,
They want to just close this out. They want to go to sleep. But Rhythm not letting them. And, that reprieve is not really looking close, to be honest. That last round from Rhythm was pretty solid. Seems pretty clear that they are carrying across that momentum from regulation.
I mean, you look at the KDAs, right? If you were to only look at the KDAs, you'd think Wildcard's winning this game. Like 16-1 and 8 Geo, 14-3 and 9 Emo. Everyone else is like 6 and 7 kills minimum. But they're down overtime match point. 2 chances now for Rhythm on their attack. It's been a little while, but for those who maybe only just tuned in or want a refresher, their attacks in the first half, guys, weren't great. They only won the one round. It was a 1-5 attacking half for Rhythm. Going to have to find a way to improve on that here if they are going to win in this particular round. But they don't need to. You lose this, you then go back on the defense.
Attic being opened up here by Ghoul. When push comes to shove, Vinny inside of Pit might be the one to contest that, but instead will retreat back in towards Kids. He has a deployable shield with 2 ADS devices covering this, so quite defensive from Wildcard. Not too afraid to let Rhythm take a little bit of map control, or at least make Rhythm think that map control is clear. Now, importantly, down below is not being taken again by the attack. Milo is left to his own devices once again. He can sit below, watch the vert, and there's no one really contesting that. Lines of sight have been created on the 2 most common plant spots for the attack. And if Milo isn't dealt with, I don't really see Rhythm being able to take this round unless they're able to just flood site.
Gas Babe has been deployed. Just buy a bit of time here with a minute left in this overtime match point round. Drone is able to avoid that, of course. Does do damage to players as well as utility. This is better though from Rhythm. The fact that they haven't actually lost a player here on their attack, so in fact they actually did end up getting the opening pick onto Geo. In fact, they traded, guys.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward trade to kick things off. 30 seconds left. Those smoke canisters are starting to dissipate for the defense. Vinny does find one. Molosca still uncontested down below. This will be very, very tough for Rhythm to stick.
15 seconds remaining, 3 versus 4, favor for Wildcard. BB pushes in, gets one, but back with a trade over at top right. Goal is the last one alive at a 1 versus 3. He's making some shooting signs all night, but he can't shoot anything at the end of that round. Wildcard, send it to a 15th round. Just like our last match. Molosca still cool even under the pressure, Guz.
Yeah, look, I'd say I'm pretty good friends with Milo, and we talk every now and again and play and whatnot. And yeah, he's a pretty cool, calm, collected sort of dude. Doesn't get too worked up very easily. So yeah, he's definitely he's playing into it a little bit, but he is under the surface still pretty cool and calm, and seems to be adopting that mantra once again, which is good to see. And to be fair, Wildcard on that particular objective haven't really looked threatened every single time. Rhythm are just doing the same thing over and over, the same attack pattern, not contesting down below. And Wildcard are just holding on. And it hasn't been particularly difficult for them. But now comes the real challenge. Wildcard jump onto the attack. And we'll have to see what they can do. Wildcard themselves have been duplicating a pretty similar sort of approach. They've been spawning Junkyard to the west, taking down below in towards Kitchen, and trying to mount attacks from the current on-meta sort of position of top wide and double window, and it has been pretty mixed. The results have not been great for Wildcard.
Yeah. I don't think that they will be happy that they're even in this position, whether they walk away with 1 point or 2 points. Not ideal, especially off the back of the fact they had a 5-1 lead. But as we've sort of already spoken about it at many lengths, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. It's not as cut and dry as like, oh, they had a 5-1 lead. They should be winning. Only 2 more rounds needed. No, there's a lot of other factors that do go into it. And Rhythm is a team, and I'm so glad that it's almost played out this way, because we mentioned it a few times, but they're a team that, you know, in stage 1 got a lot of overtime performances. It was just more so they could never quite get those all full important 3 points. And also, I'm going to correct myself. I said before that they stumble in overtime. They actually don't, guys. They have a 3-1 record in OT in stage 1. So usually they get here. It's just more so they could never quite get the wins in regular.
Molosca with a quick entry in towards Armory. Can pop open this wall and establish a rotation into Bedroom. Slowly trying to weaken the trophy position that lies between them and the objective. A Deployable Shield has been positioned there. Looking to hold it a little bit hard. Nothing really standing out as being too wild. Rhythm do have 2 players down below though, and unlike previous rounds, Wildcard are not being sucked in as much to that kitchen clear. In fact, they're taking at it. They're looking to take Armory across in towards Bedroom and then Games, and that does nullify those positions down below quite significantly. So BB and Ghoul are really not going to see anything. They'll be forced to rotate back towards side, and Wildcard could potentially capitalize upon that and try and cut them off.
Minute and a half remaining here in this final round, not only of this match, but of the night for OCN Playday 2, Stage 2. Both teams, of course, have been up and down in this match. Feels like it's been a little bit more up for Rhythm. They are slightly still the underdogs, despite Wildcard's roster predicaments. They're in a much different position, though, as to where they were in Stage 1. There's definitely less excuses for Wildcard now, as BB makes the transition over towards Laundry Stairs. 50 seconds on the clock.
No one on the defensive drone, so BB will need to try and hit a C4 blind. If he wants to attempt that, he will. And it won't.
No!
Will.
He ran into it! Oh no, that's so unlucky! It was so far off the mark, guys. You were about to say it, but he ran literally on top of it. 30 seconds left now, but Vinny at least got a kill onto Drex. It's still a man advantage for Wildcard. Molosca's got 2 in this ultimate final round. Leb getting another one back, at least for Rhythm, but he does take a bit of a beating for it. Low health, does still have Nevaix, the man of the hour. Last time, the Gas Babe, had he had his gun out, he probably would have found the kill. All at about half health. Vinny swings out. Vinny and Molosca get it done for Wildcard. Sigh of relief for Wildcard. They win out in the end, 8-7.
Oh, you can see the relief, hands on heads. That was a stressful game for Wildcard and not as easy as they would have liked, but they do at least get the dub on the board. 2 points to their tally, and they can be happy that they didn't let that one slip away too far.
Oh, it's heartbreak for Rhythm. It really is that they only walk away with 1 point because they played so well. But Wildcard just that little bit better in the crunch. At the end, in the 15th round, they come out ahead 8-7 against a very valiant effort from Rhythm. What a game and what a day overall, guys. We had so many close games. 7-5, 7-5, 8-7, 8-7. It feels like, what is the time now? It's like midnight over here, right? So we've been going for about 5 hours or so for 4 games. That's a pretty long night.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting pretty tired, but honestly, the energy of that game did carry me through, and I thought, in particular, before that Novak's clutch, that this was, you know, it was basically over. It was a done deal. The envelope, it was sealed, it was sent. But no, Rhythm did not go down without a fight. They tried super hard.
Oh, that's not the one. That's a different one.
No, yeah, that was, I mean, that was like the deja vu. I was about to say that, but I didn't get an opportunity to, nonetheless, because Pat decided to run over the Super in that last round. But no, a lot of action throughout this series. It was pretty full on, quite stressful. I mean, you could literally see in the faces of Wildcard after that match, they were pretty tired after that match. So, a fun game of Siege, a really exciting game of Siege, and yeah, both these teams shaping up quite well.
And good for Wildcard's sake, they walk away with the win because they had the prior opportunities, of course, before heading into overtime. It was, I think, about 3. Oh, there it is. Yeah, just ran straight on top of it. That was so unfortunate for Pat. He got his hands in his head there at the end, understanding what happened in that final round. But yeah, for Wildcard, a big win. They're on the board. They're in the W column. Of course, they had a tumultuous season in Stage 1, along with APAC South and everything that happened with Silex and D's and all of that. So a big win against an ever-improving Rhythm roster who, you know, definitely don't lose any fans tonight, guys. They were right there until the end, and a very good even spread of kills across the board. A really solid team effort.
Yeah, and at least they walk away with something. I think that they've been rightfully rewarded for their efforts in this matchup. They were down 5-1. They were on 1 round at the halftime break, which was really rough to see for them, but they dug deep. They did a really, really good job in bringing that one back to overtime. It's not quite the win. It's not quite 3 points. It's not even 2, but it's better than nothing. Rhythm have historically been a team for the longest time that have lost in overtime, so at least now they get something for their efforts.
Well, I mean, for Rhythm's sake, you know, they have won 3 times in overtime in Stage 1, only the 1 loss. So they are a team that actually have done usually quite well in overtime. It was just more so getting those regular season wins. So tonight was, again, another one where I think that's probably the next stage of their development, right, is being able to translate these overtime performances into the regular time. Had they not allowed Wildcard to get off to such a fast start, who knows what could have happened, guys?
Yeah, you just never know with those things. It's all hypothetical, but I think at the end of the day, as I said, Rhythm did a decent job to just fight it out as much as they could. And on the flip side, Wildcard, I think they'll probably say at the end of the day it was a disappointing result, but hey, at least they closed it out because it was looking pretty damn dicey for a lot of that. You
can ask them yourself if you want, because we're going to have a quick chat with one of our ever favorites. It is going to be, of course, Vinny coming in for a quick one. All smiles around. Firstly, congratulations, mate, on the win. Obviously, it must be a great feeling. But did you feel like you deserved 3 points? That's what Guz is saying. He feels like you guys wouldn't be happy with 2?
To be honest, probably not. Hey, I think Rhythm put up a really good fight, and I think they probably deserved the point. We didn't close it out when we had to, and that falls on us. So I think it's completely fair. They got the point, and yeah, just really happy to get the first win on the board.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the back of that, the Novak's clutch with the Frost. That had to have been pretty tough to move on from. How do you even go about that? Do you just completely ignore it? Do you have a quick chat about it? What was the comms like after that one?
You know, initially it's a bit like, how did that happen? But after that, it's you know, time to reset. We still have a game to play and finish it off. Yeah, it was just I don't know, unfortunate. Like a lot of things happened tonight that are just completely crazy towards the end of the round. So it was kind of like the pattern. But after that, you just reset, and we knew we had to win it out in overtime. We even lost the first overtime round, but it was just about resetting and making sure we're still switched on.
Mate, I have to ask you, coming into this season, what are the internal goals for you guys as a team? Of course, Veloska comes in, Rousey as well. Is it a rebuilding season, or is there serious ambitions and aspirations for, you know, where you guys used to be as a team?
Yeah, I think, like, obviously our goals are still set pretty high. We know as a squad we're still one of the best teams in the region. And, you know, it's a bit of a rebuild with Milo because the way that the roles have kind of been switched around. Since Diesel left, it kind of meant Pat went onto that more support role, and he hasn't been playing that for a while. So it's a little bit of a rebuild, but it's still really high hopes for us. I think we still have the potential to put up some really good results this season.
Yeah, next week you'll be taking on Order, and that's a pretty big matchup, I guess, in the context of the standings. They obviously won today in regulation, so they jump ahead of you guys just a little bit. What are your thoughts heading into that one?
The match against Order is always a good one. I think they've got a lot of awesome characters to play against, and it's always a good rivalry. So I'm really keen to get that game underway and yeah, hopefully come out with another win.
Certainly good signs and hopefully a good future for you guys. Any final messages you want to send for everyone out there?
Just a continued, or a thank you for the continued support from all the Wildcard fans. Last season was really rough, and you know, it's good to finally get a win on the board and show them that, you know, we still have what it takes to get some wins. And yeah, just a huge thank you to them, and also Wildcard for the support they've continued to show in us.
Certainly things are looking up, at least for the time being. Vinny, best of luck next week.
Thanks, guys.
All smiles around for Wildcard in the end, guys. It was a bit of a relief moment considering how close it was. Rhythm pushing them literally the entire way, all the way to the 15th round, which was the second game actually. Do so tonight. Chiefs and Roffle, of course, went the distance earlier as well. What a night overall, though, that we did have. I'm not going to lie, I was probably not anticipating for tonight's games to be all of them this close. The results as well, a couple of them a little surprising. The Bliss over Knights one, the Rafflecopter over Chiefs one, and kind of like we alluded to in the pre-show, it was likely that the caster predictions would probably go about 2-2, except for old mate Sky, who obviously went Bliss.
Yeah, oh, look, you won't let us live that one down, but so be it. It is
Oh,
what
there
it
it
is.
is. Oh,
gee, wow,
jeez.
wow. Throw us under the bus, production, but look, it is what it is. I'm sure there's a great opportunity for us to bounce back, and look, I really don't care that much. It was a fun night of Siege, it always is here in OS, and yeah, goes to prove once again that a coin flip is good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we actually have to start employing the actual coin flip. Maybe we should just go over and steal Rob's one, because that one is the magic one. 6-0 apparently he says it is. I don't even know if I trust him anymore, but you know, a quick little dissection of the games. Order versus LFO, that was a really, really good one. I think, and I'm going to be honest here, I think a little higher quality than the Rhythm Wildcard one in both attack and defense. I really enjoyed that. Order probably fortunate that that one it didn't go to overtime. Knights Bliss was also a pretty close affair. Bliss just a little bit better.
Yeah, Bliss coming out of the gates really strong. I think in stage one they threw a lot of people off guard, or at least myself. I thought they'd sort of be around that mid to low table, but they have some really good gunners on their team. They're proving week in, week out that they actually have some pretty decent consistency, and I feel like that C word is a word that gets thrown a lot around in this region, and a lot of teams do struggle in achieving that mantra. So the fact that Bliss have taken down Wildcard and Knights now is quite cool.
There's another word I want to mention here. It's the M word. It's MVP of the night, and probably not too many surprises. It is going to go to Shade from Team Bliss. Massive performance in what was a big game against a big opponent when you look at the stats as well, backing it up. But ultimately, I think it goes beyond even the stats, guys, and just the way he was playing. And again, going up against the Knights, all right, that adds some credibility to it.
Yeah, Shade has been popping off here at the start of OCN. I remember last night as well, he hit a pretty great clutch on Consulate, and he follows it up again once here this evening. 1.71 KD is always not to be shied away from. That cost is also quite impressive. Oh, we even get a player cam for the replays. That's cool. So you can see exactly what's going through the mind of Shade, and yeah, you can see that untamed aggression was really, really helpful for his team. He was unfortunate not to win out this particular clutch, but you can just see how sharp he has been mechanically, and he was as surprised as we were when the Knights were able to win that round. But no, across the board, some really good consistent play from Shade.
Yeah, and a big win for the team as well. It definitely wasn't just the Shade show for Team Bliss. They were solid as a team. Shade, though, just coming up big when they needed him the most in those clutch rounds. And you can see how much it means, not only to Shade, but also to Team Bliss, taking down the Knights in one of our earlier games. There was also Chiefs versus Roffelcopter. That went 8-7. Roffelcopter flying high, guys, knocking off the reigning champions.
Yeah, that's a really big story. The Chiefs not having the best start to their campaign. Sure, they took down Order yesterday, but losing to Roffel is definitely not ideal. It was quite a closely contested matchup. It came down to the final round, again, of overtime, and Roffel just decided, hey, boys, we're just going to rush in towards the site, see what happens, and they managed to pull it off. So unfortunate there for the Chiefs, but Roffel will be thrilled with that result.
Yep, I think for the Chiefs, they'll be fine. They'll bounce back. They still got a point anyway because of the fact that it did go to overtime. And then, of course, as we just had Rhythm versus Wildcard, which was a little bit messy, but also at the same time pretty structured, right? On Oregon, very defensive-sided. Here are the standings, though, after 2 play days, 2 games played. It's a little hard to read too much into all of it, but I will say it is starting to take shape a little bit. And for Team Bliss, they are clear number 1. Due to the fact that we did, of course, have a couple of overtimes tonight.
Yeah, of course. Only 2 play days in, so you can't make too many big calls. But Bliss, they were actually in this very similar position last stage where they're at the top of the standings and then faltered towards the back end and dropped down a little bit. And arguably that cost them in their playoffs run because they started a little bit more shallow into the gauntlet. So they'll be looking to, I guess, maintain that consistency. They are currently the only team with 2 regulation wins, which is really impressive. And in fact, the only team that hasn't gotten a win is Rhythm. God bless their soul. I hope they bounce back.
They were close. They were very, very close. They went the distance with Wildcard. Well, that was an amazing night, an amazing week 1 for OCN. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Of course, we'll be back next week. 3 versus 5 as Bailey has just got them lined up one by one. He takes them down, 3 for the round, 1 versus 4.
Smart Glass perfectly counter the flashes. It's a double from Sushi. I don't know how he managed to hit that. And now it looks a little bit more achievable. Josh can jump onto the hit. Shade force wide. He does find juice, but Josh keeps sticking. Josh keeps sticking. Can Shade find the kill? No! Not quite. The Knights.
Zone fake. Potentially open now for Team Bliss. Not many numbers alive here for Knights. Shade, though, on site into Piano. How do you lose that one? He got the down onto Worthy. As I said, he didn't really need that much to land. Bounce it as soon as he swings. Oh, he swings perfectly. The head of Fisher guy making his way in. Yeah, unfortunately, for a second, I thought that might have been the Gemini. It's not, though. Bouncer doesn't get the kill, and he's completely lost it. Oh no! Oh, I'm just watching it, and I even couldn't believe it. And he will be able to stop. No! Oh, he's gone straight past God Legion. There's an opportunity that has presented itself here for the Chiefs. God Legion does it! Oh! Led following, but it's too late. Although he knows where he's going to be coming from. Oh, Gio anyway! That's insane! They're losing out at the moment, but he is fighting until the end. Evoing with another pick onto BB. That user didn't quite go down yet. They're fighting the pick. The Vance, though. 1 versus 3. Now 1 versus 2. Can he make it a 1 versus 1? He's got too many times to look at. Oh, the Vance has won it! The Frost Mat!
I'm running out of time. I'm running out of feeling so. I'm running out of time. Help me see the